Morning. Good morning to you. You're watching ENCA, and live on screen we can see former President Thabo Mbeki, who is in Kalani in Johannesburg about to cast his vote. And while we don't have audio, we certainly can see by the expressions there, taps, that the election officials are really excited to see a former head of state.
We saw earlier Masego describing that some of the political parties had little marquees on the way to the voting stations, and that seems to be the case here. It seems like the former president has stopped at an ANC marquee on the way to go and cast his vote. And that's crucial because, remember, Masego spoke to someone who was in the queue at a polling station but hadn't decided which party they're voting for. So maybe that's why some of the political parties are still outside some of the polling stations, hoping to convince some last-minute voters.
I see there were some free caps going there, which I think would be really useful. It's very warm here in Johannesburg, and there's the former president being asked to take out his old ID. He doesn't seem to have the credit card ID yet, but he's about to vote. So it's an exciting time, and let's not forget that he is an elder statesman who fought very hard to allow all of us to be able to vote. Well, not me, because I was privileged enough to probably always be able to vote, but for the majority of South Africans to be able to vote, that privilege is still something that we need to cherish every day, because our right to democracy was fought very, very hard by a man like Thabo Mbeki.
And he was speaking as he was campaigning and holding events for the ANC, speaking about how it's important to hold the people that we elect into power accountable after these elections. We need to make sure we hold them accountable because this is a decision that is going to last for the next 5 years. It doesn't stop with the X that you make today. You still need to continue to engage with the elected officials once you make your mark, and that's something that he spoke about a lot in the run-up to the elections.
And I don't think people realize how important these elections are, because they're really about your day-to-day issues, the running of your life, whether you have access to clean water, whether you have electricity, whether you have a road that is safe to drive on, or safe for your kids to get to school. That's why you need to go and vote. It's really, really important.
Yeah, the Ipsos survey that we did as ENCA spoke about how voter apathy will have a key role in these elections. Different voter turnout scenarios will affect parties differently. So President Mbeki and the ANC will be hoping for a big turnout, because that will affect the ANC positively, whereas a lower turnout will boost some of the other parties, their rivals, the DA and the EFF.
And Thabo Mbeki there, as you can see, he looks like he's about to make his mark, doesn't he? And to get that cross on his thumb, that cross that we're very proud to have. And Cyril Ramaphosa, he, I understand, is going to be voting very soon in Soweto. And we have Premier David Makhura, who's also in Soweto, coming up. And we have former President Jacob Zuma in Nkandla, who's also going to be voting in this hour. So it seems that 10 o'clock is going to be a crucial time for former heads of state to make their mark on the ballot paper.
All right, speaking of former heads of state, let's see if we can connect with Nkandla, who's out in KZN. Nkandla, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly fine.
We
are now in Nkandla. I just want to show you. I want to show you around. See, there's numbers of people that have come. EFF is already out in their numbers. We've spoken to them, of course, because of that low clash that we've had in a while. They are not able to speak to us on camera, but already they are out in their numbers. You'll see their ANC is already out there in their marquee, in their colors. So there's definitely that sense of today is the first. That is the day that people will be voting. Here we have Nkandla as well, which is also asking people. I just want to come closer and speak to some of the voters that are going to be getting their T-shirts. Baba, ngiyakubona ukuthi usugqokile usumuhle. Ngabe ubaba usevotile yini?
Yebo, usevotile.
Kuhambe kanjani baba? Kuhamba kahle kakhulu. Ubaba yini eyenza ukuthi azovota namhlanje mkhiphe nje ekhaya? Angichazele nje.
Mkhiphe ukuthi bethola amalungelo. ngoba ngivota nje ngivotela ukuthi kulunge zonke izinto umgwaqo yonke into kungabikho irobhane ukuthi umuntu usivota ngivotele ubani ngoba amakhansela siyawavotela nomva kokhetho asesibalekele singabe sawaphinde siwabone siwagcina ngomdla ikhankasa ngoba ikhankasa yikwamanjena emva kwalokho ngeke phinde siwabone.
Kodwa baba unethemba ukuthi njengoba bekhankasile namhlanje kulezi insuku manje sekuzoshintsha?
Hayi nginethemba ngalokho.
Siyabonga baba. Ubaba singakhuluma naye. Baba wena yini eyenza ukuthi ushukuma ufuna ukuvota futhi?
Ukuthi ivoti lami ngiyabona lizongisiza kakhulu ngoba isikhathi esiningi siyabavotela kodwa abasenzeli lutho. Namhlanje besicela ukuthi kube noshintsho. Lona silifunayo ushintsho ngoba sesibonela ukuthi amaqembu noma siwavotela awenzi lutho abasebenzi amakhansela khona. Kumanje nje akhona amakhansela phela le vote nje namhlanje asiphinde siwabona kodwa kwamanje sithembisa izinto eziningi asingazi noma soyithola kuphela into esiyivotela sifuna izindlu sifuna amanzi sifuna imigwaqo ayikho imigwaqo.
All right, sibonge kakhulu baba. So people out in their numbers, of course, saying that they want to vote because they still believe that their vote does count for something. They're saying that they want water, they want electricity, they want roads. Now, in the area that we are in, it's largely rural. As we were driving here, most of the road that stretches just down here, you will see it is still gravel road. So people want tar road. They're not necessarily saying that there are no roads, there are, but in the rainy times, in times of cold and all sort of things, obviously roads like this are not good for cars, they're not good for them as well. As more tar road comes in, you know that there will be more accessibility to transport, things like taxis for those that do not have their own transport. But where we are specifically, we know that this area is still largely controlled by Nkandla Freedom Party. Now, for as long as ANC had lost this area to Nkandla Freedom Party, they haven't been able to take it back. So this is still that struggle. There's still that race between the two parties where they still want, the one wants to retain the power, the other one still wants to take back the power. But we are expecting the former President Jacob Zuma to be walking into this primary school to vote in just a couple of hours. We do know that he is going to be here. We have been assured that he will be here. But in the meantime, people are celebrating the day of the voters, and they are here and they have come out in their numbers.
All right. Nqobile Madlala is out in Nkandla. Like he said, former President Jacob Zuma expected to come out and make his mark. We also saw visuals of another former president, President Thabo Mbeki, who was making his mark in Killarney in Johannesburg.
I still find it quite exciting to see former heads of state who we know were in Robben Island and fought so hard to make their way to the polls, because it reminds us that it's still really special to be voting. But let's go to Masego Rakhlaga, who is in Soweto, and we have here, we have the former President Thabo Mbeki talking. Let's stay with him.
Recognize the problems that face us in the municipalities, many problems of service delivery, of potholes, of all sorts of things. I think this is common cause to all the candidates. These are the challenges we face in the municipalities, need to be attended to. That I think also means that we need honest people, not thieves. You know, we don't elect people. I voted now. I was voting hoping that the person I vote for and the party, whatever the party, would really be, I'm voting for honest people to serve the population here in Johannesburg or wherever people are voting. And hopefully, that will be the nature, the character of the candidates that get voted in, who will therefore have the seriousness to attend to these challenges.
And Mr. President, should there be any coalitions? How should the ANC approach them?
And my friend, I'm not talking for the ANC now. We're not allowed to campaign. It's against the law. So I'm not campaigning for anybody, not even for myself.
Thank you, colleagues. While it's largely quiet and peaceful this election, Mr. Former President, there are sporadic issues of violence there and there, and people who have been killed directly because of contesting in the election. That's quite concerning, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a matter of great concern that, as you know, it's been happening for a number of years, that these contests get so tense that people take one another's lives, and it's not good. It's not good. I don't think there's nobody's life. No, if I want to be a candidate, it can be on the blood of somebody else, on the life of somebody else. It's quite wrong. So, but I really do hope that for the rest of the day we won't have any of that kind of thing, because we need a peaceful country, and whatever indeed in terms of the voting process, at the end of it, we've got to work, all of us, whatever the party, got to work with the elected government. So you can't treat your opponent as an enemy. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. I hope you people have voted.
And your vote remains a secret still?
Oh, very secret. Yeah, I vote. Very, very secret.
Thank you, Mr. Former President.